Good morning. Hi everyone, it's Tanja from Tanja Kraus Horsemanship here, and I thought I would drop in for a little chat on thoughts from my walk. And what I wanted to just touch on today was something that happened this morning. I was kind of scrolling through Facebook as you do, and a post came up about a problem with a grazing muzzle. So it was a photograph of a horse that had pretty significant damage to its front teeth, and what it had done was worn away the enamel of its front teeth because they had put a grazing muzzle on this horse, and for an extended period of time. It was like 8 hours a day for 5 months or something. Anyway. And the post was quite negative in its approach to what had happened. Like, they shared the post, and then someone commented and said, "Oh, they're torture devices," and then someone else commented and said, "Oh yeah, along with fly masks, and I hate them, and it's so cruel," and all of this sort of stuff. And it got me to thinking about using our voice for creating positive change or creating awareness. Now, I personally do not like grazing muzzles either. I don't use them on my horses, but I'm also very fortunate that my horses don't need them, because grazing muzzles are typically used to prevent horses from foundering and getting laminitis and all that sort of stuff. It's to restrict intake. It's to restrict the amount of food that the horse can get. So the alternative to a grazing muzzle is locking the horse up altogether, off food altogether. And obviously we know, with regards to horses, they're meant to eat 20 hours a day. They're meant to have that consistent grazing coming through all the time. So that's not a great option, because that builds ulcers in the horse's guts, and it can cause colic impaction issues because they're getting a feed and then you're not feeding them, etc., etc. So there's a few different ways to approach trying to restrict intake on your horse, and it is a really challenging thing. I've got a lot of students who battle with horses and their intake and all that sort of stuff. So it got me to thinking that I'm going to share that post, but I'm going to share it as an awareness to show people, hey, look at this is something that has happened due to a grazing muzzle. Maybe it's a particular type of grazing muzzle. Maybe it's the horse itself was obviously really biting down on it quite significantly, and I will be sharing it simply to get people to go down the paddock and look in their horse's mouth and say, is my grazing muzzle causing issue? And then it's going to help people keep on top of it and be aware of it. Whereas the same thing, I'm sure that, in the horse world, everyone's got opinions, and we might look at a horse that's all covered in rugs and go, oh, that's terribly cruel and this and that. But sometimes horses have, itch, and the only way to protect them from bugs is to put rugs on them. And sometimes horses have, with the fly mask comment, I put fly masks on my horses, one, because they've got that really pink skin, and often a fly mask, I use a combination of a fly mask and sunscreen, and I'd manage the situation that way. And I know, I think when it really comes down to it, when we're doing these things for our horses, quite often we're trying to do the best thing for the horse. So instead of putting a negative post up and just going straight to the cruelty aspect and judging the people for, this damage that's happened to the horse, maybe we need to take a step back and go, oh, a grazing muzzle, I wonder why they had that on the horse, and maybe they were trying to do the best thing for the horse, and unfortunately in that situation it's backfired on them. But I think that if all you're doing is trying to make noise, then what's the point? Why just have a bitch? Why just put it out there and have a big whinge about it? If you just want to hear the sound of your own voice and have a bitch fest, then go for it. But if you want to create change, then there's a positive way to do that, and there's a positive way to get people educated and get people informed. So my mum always told me that you catch more flies with honey, and And I think that that's the way that we should approach these things, is trying to educate people and help people make informed choices instead of just having a big old bitch fest, which one, gets people to shut down, but two, you're just making noise. You're not creating change. So why whinge about it unless you want to change it? And if you're that passionate about it, then do something to create a change. So that was my thought for today. And I guess the question is: are you using your voice to create change, or are you just making noise? I hope you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.